how-to. We are going to make meatballs, and we're going to learn how to fry them in a pan, frying pan. You could bake them, but we did baking in the last segment, so I thought that we would be better to, we boiled and baked previously, so I thought it would be a good idea to maybe try something different. So it's going to be how to fry your meatballs. So you just need basic ingredients, and ground beef or turkey, and then your seasonings. So you would need onion powder, garlic powder, Parmesan cheese, some salt. I use the Himalayan salt, but if you have regular salt, it's fine. I also like to use the Greek seasoning, but if you don't have that, it'll still taste good. Maybe a little parsley. And then the extra virgin olive oil, EVOO. You put that in the frying pan and get that warmed up. Okay? You also need an egg. Okay. Let's get started. So, when you're dealing with raw meat, especially turkey or beef, you have to be really careful that you don't cross-contaminate, that whatever spoons you're using go into the sink, that you don't put this spoon into raw meat and then stick it into like vegetables. We have to use different spoons and different silverware for vegetables than we do for our meat, because it's not cooked yet and you could get sick. Okay, so we're gonna put this again, this could be ground beef, or this is turkey actually, but you could use ground beef too. So what I like to do is put a teaspoon of each. And then when I'm done using it, I put it in the cabinet, because I don't want to forget or ask myself, did I put that in there yet? So this way we know it is definitely in there. Now you can play around with the amounts. If you make it one way and then you decide that you want more seasoning next time, or maybe they didn't have enough seasoning. But remember what I told you, that you can't take the seasoning out. So always start with less, and then you can always add more. You can't take it out. Okay, and then this, some salt. You can also put some pepper in there. I'm just going to crack an egg. Okay. Wash hands. Anytime you touch raw eggs or raw meat, you always want to make sure that you wash your hands, okay? Now I'm going to put the pan on medium heat. So this is the left front. So I find the one that has left front, or the black dot that's in the left front corner. Put it on medium, maybe a 6. Get that warmed up while you're mixing up your meatballs. And then we're going to fry them. So you want to mix it up really good. Now you could also add breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs make a nice filler for meatballs. I don't know about turkey though, that would be probably more for beef. So you want to mix it up really good. See that? See, there's no seasoning stuck to the side. There's no spices stuck to the side. Now the thing about this is I can't taste it to see if I put enough seasoning in. So that's the downside. I just have to look and see, you know what, it might need a little bit more parsley. You can smell the seasonings, but you can always add a little bit more. Another trick to making meatballs is you could grab a spoon and then just form the meatball with your hands and then put it on there, put it in the pan. But that's one way to do it. You could also use an ice cream scoop. And you just take the ice cream scoop like that. And I kind of use my hand. And then you just drop it in. You don't want to overflow it too much. That off of there. And remember, if you are making something, if you're making a salad to go with it, you don't want to use the spoon that you had that was in the raw meat, and anything else, it has to be washed first. Okay. My grandmother used to make fried meatballs, and after she fried them, she'd leave some fried on the table in a bowl, and the rest she would put into the spaghetti sauce on Sundays when we would have dinner. So some would be in with the spaghetti sauce and some would be fried. Okay, this has to go in the sink. I have to wash my hands. Okay. Another tip is when you're using a non-stick pan, you do not want to use metal on there because you can scratch it and then it has all kinds of chemicals that it could leach into your food. So you always want to use on the non-stick, you want to use some sort of plastic utensil. Okay. So I'm going to just shake this up a little bit so that they're not dry on the bottom. Now they seem like they're really sizzling, so I'm going to turn them down a little bit. I don't want them to burn. I'm going to let them cook for about 3 minutes on that side, and then I'm going to flip them over. I have a pot of red gravy or spaghetti sauce here, and I can just add them in after they're cooked. Sometimes if you're going to put them in spaghetti sauce and cook them longer, then you would just brown them on both sides and then put them in the spaghetti sauce and let them finish cooking there. If you plan on eating them right from here, then you want to make sure that they're fully cooked, because you don't want to eat anything, and you don't want to eat any meat that's raw. Okay? It's really hot. You have to be careful of splatter, so you want to make sure that you have a grown-up or an adult helping you with this part. As you can see, they're starting to get brown on the bottoms. Give it another couple minutes and then I'll flip them over. Be really careful with the splatter. Also, anything wet If your utensil is wet and it drips some water on there, it will really splatter a lot. The water and the oil don't mix. Okay, I'm going to flip this over. You can see. Notice I didn't put a lot of oil in the bottom of the pan, just enough to cover it, not too much. I'm left-handed, so it's easier for me to flip with this hand. Also, I want you to remember that the handle is not turned out where it can get flipped up. Somebody came along or a little child came up and grabbed the handle, they could flip this very easily on them and get burned. So always keep the handles turned in. Even though these are really brown right here, you see this one right here, it still has raw meat. It's not cooked. Okay, so be really careful to make sure that you cook them all the way through. You can test one. If you think they're finished, take one and put it on a plate and cut it into fours and let it cool for a second, and then you can see if it's done on the inside. Ground beef, you can tell because it'll still be pink. Turkey's a little more tricky because of its color. But it should be not, you'll see that it's got like a pinkish color. Not as pink as ground beef though. And when it's done, it'll be more tan in color. Okay, so I'm just going to continue to brown these until they're done, and then you can either, like I said, you can either put them on a plate, eat them on a roll, on bread, make a sandwich out of them. You can put them in red spaghetti sauce and have spaghetti with them. You could put it in spaghetti sauce, and then once it's fully cooked, you can put it on a roll and make meatball subs. You can even put some provolone cheese on there and have meatball sub. I just eat them like this. I just put them on a plate, maybe add a little bit of salt, and I like them like that. But everybody has a different way that they like to eat their meatballs. Now, if you wanted to bake these, what you could do is put them in an oven on a baking tray. So if I was going to bake them, I would have put them on maybe some foil and sprayed it with olive oil. Put the meatballs just like I made them, but instead of putting them in the frying pan, you would put them in here with some space in between. You don't want to crowd them too much. And then maybe put sprinkle a little bit of salt over the top, and then bake them in the oven at 350 for about 20 minutes, depending on how big they are. They might need extra, but just keep an eye on them. Okay? And that's it. That's how you make meatballs, and that's how you fry meatballs. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and let me know how your meatballs turn out.